This is how the boxes arrived to the house. As you can see, the parts were very well packed. This is everything completely out of the box. First thing you're going to want to do is chalk the front wheels. It's a good idea to pre-soak the old U-bolts with some sort of penetrating oil. After removing the wheel, go ahead and remove the U-bolts. The new spring seat does not sit over the bolt properly, so the bolt must be cut down. The spring seat bolt measures about 1 inch and needs to be cut down to about 3/4 of an inch. After test fitting the new U-bolts and under axle brackets, I discovered that the U-bolts should be cut down by about 1.5 inches. Thread the nut up to the top of the U-bolt before cutting. That way when you remove the nut after cutting the U-bolt, it will remove any burrs on the threads. Next we move on to installing the U-bolts, the under axle bracket, and the spring seat. When tightening down the U-bolt nuts, use the star pattern as seen here and torque down to 150 foot-pounds. Next we'll be installing the bushing, bolt, washers, nut, and rear portion of the traction bar. One Up Offroad recommends using silicone or dry wax to aid in the bushing install. I found that using a large C-clamp made the job very easy. On this bolt, use red Loctite and torque to 80 foot-pounds. When the rear portion of the bar is done, the gusset should be on the bottom and the front should be on something soft as not to scratch it. Next I moved on to the front bracket, which consists of the bracket, 8 bolts, 16 washers, and 8 nuts. Find a spot on the frame that the bracket will fit on both sides of the truck and mock it up. Using a clamp helps quite a bit. Once you get the bracket mocked up and clamped, you can use a scratch awl and a marker to indicate where the 8 holes are supposed to be drilled on the frame. Drill 8 holes in the frame, 4 on the flange, and 4 on the side. The holes need to be 3/8 inch when they're done. I used cobalt bits to help drill through the hardened steel. Once all the holes are drilled, be sure to paint the raw metal so it seals it from rust. Now it's time to install the front bracket. All 8 bolts require red Loctite and 18 foot-pounds of torque. Next I moved on to the 2-piece bar coupler and associated hardware. There are 3 O-rings that go inside the coupler that require some sort of silicone or assembly lube. Once the O-rings are installed into the coupler with some assembly lube, put the coupler onto the front bar. Next I installed the front bar with the 7/8 inch bolt, the washer, and the 2 bushings that match up to it. The 7/8 inch bolt requires red Loctite. Slide the front bar into the rear bar and bring it up to the bracket. Use an impact wrench on the 7/8 inch bolt to securely screw it into the upper bar. Hold the bar while using the impact wrench and continue to apply pressure to the bolt until it bottoms out in the bar. You will see the bushings compress and the bar and the bolt will begin to turn as one. If the bar is installed correctly, the bar side bushing will be just under 1 inch when it is compressed. Next up is the coupler and bar mounting hardware. Now on to the stressful part, you get to drill a hole into your brand new traction bars. Toward the front of each of the rear bars, there is a 1/4 inch pilot hole on each side of the bar. This is a pilot hole for a 1/4 inch bit, which needs to be upsized to a 3/8 inch bit, and then a 1/2 inch bit on each side. After both sides are drilled to 1/2 inch, the outside of the bar only will be drilled up to 5/8 inch. By doing this, the crush sleeve only fits into the bar by one side and permanently securing the two bars together. The flat side of the coupler will be on the inside of the truck, which will also have the washer and the nut. Tighten the bolt down to 100 foot-pounds of torque. At this point, I had completed the install of the One Up Offroad traction bars for my 2000 Ford F-250 with a 7.3 liter diesel. The bars were of very high quality, and I was very impressed with them. I was even more impressed when we got them on the road. There was no squeaking, binding, or noise coming from the bars or the truck in any way. All signs of axle wrap are completely gone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you would like to stay tuned for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.